Your news starts now.
And first tonight, we've got some breaking news and another deadly shooting in Portland. This is video just in from Southeast Bush near 136th Avenue. That's not far from Powell Butte. Police confirm one person has been killed. They add the shooter or shooters took off and no arrests have been made. Bush is now closed in the area for about 3 blocks. We will keep you updated here and at KGW.com as we learn more. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. That is one of several difficult stories we have to report tonight, including what began as a missing persons case for a 27-year-old Aloha woman. It has now quickly turned into a murder investigation spanning several counties. And along the trail of this already grim tragedy, a dumpster and a landfill. Here's Alma McCarty.
Last Friday, 27-year-old Kaylee Birdsell's family reported her missing. On Sunday, deputies with the Washington County Sheriff's Office got a tip
that led investigators to believe that this individual, Kaylee Birdsell, was possibly either A, hurt or B, even worse, murdered.
Detectives soon determined it was likely Birdsell had been murdered, and her body, they say, disposed of at an Aloha apartment complex in a dumpster.
They were able to track where that dumpster was taken to.
The trail took a team of about 20 to this landfill in Benton County.
They just took the tedious task of going through the garbage bit by bit and doing everything they could to help solve this case, and hopefully at the end of this, although unfortunate, bring some closure for the family.
Birdsell's remains were recovered Tuesday, and on Wednesday, the medical examiner formally ID'd them and determined cause of death was homicide. Investigators naming 31-year-old Fabian Albert Hernandez as the suspect, adding the two had been in a relationship. This is his mugshot from an arrest last year.
They did know each other, so this wasn't a random attack.
Coincidentally, police had arrested Hernandez Sunday on unrelated theft and fraud charges. He now faces 2 more. Second-degree murder and abuse of a corpse.
Birdsell was already deceased from everything that we know, so disposing of her body in a garbage can is another charge, and that's abuse of a corpse.
And tonight, detectives are asking anyone with information about either the suspects or Kaylee Birdsell's whereabouts over the past few weeks to come forward. That includes anyone who might have knowledge about her death. David?
Yeah, lots of questions tonight in what appears to be an absolutely terrible case. Alma, I appreciate your reporting on this. I mean, it just keeps going. 2 people ducking for cover as bullets fly in downtown Gresham. That was around 9 on Friday night. More than 50 shots were fired. The owner of a nearby business says there were bullet holes in the cafe next door.
It's really shaken us to kind of start taking action in the community and seeing what we can do to improve spots where shootings are happening recurrently, especially in this close of a really dense business area.
And that was one of 7 shootings over a 5-day span in Gresham. Another near Northeast 169th and Russell Street left behind more than 100 shell casings. Gresham police call the level of violence here, quote, unprecedented. They say they are working together with Portland police and the sheriff's office to come up with a strategy and to add patrols. Workers at a North Portland children's clinic are raising concerns tonight after one of their colleagues was assaulted on the way to work. The employee at Legacy Emmanuel Medical Center had to go to the ER after she was attacked and robbed. Nurses and patients tell us they are on high alert when coming and going. And on top of that assault, they also point to shootings in nearby Dawson Park, along with nearby homeless camps, for making them feel unsafe.
It's crazy. I see a lot of nurses and doctors walking around with maces in their hands and stuff.
And everybody's just shaken. We're losing providers. We're losing, clinic staff. Everybody's worried.
We are going to address this and continue to address this. And we are here to provide care for patients and families and to make sure that our staff is safe.
The hospital is now installing bulletproof glass at one of the children's clinics, fences around parts of the campus. They're also asking Portland police for increased presence, but in response, the police bureau told KGW something we have heard many, many times. The demand for their services is greater. than their resources. And many people who've been the victims of property crime recently know that all too well. We have heard from dozens who have had their vehicles stolen or trying to track them down, basically themselves, with help from people online. That includes Amy Scholl and Avery Eberlane. Their van was stolen yesterday morning in southeast Portland, along with most of their belongings. Now, it's pretty easy to spot because it has these very distinct murals you see painted on the sides there. So they posted the photos on Facebook groups dedicated to finding stolen vehicles. And as you would know it, they've already had several sightings, though they mention they have not gotten much help from police.
You wait for hours to file a report over the phone, and
nobody answers. It immediately
today
hangs up on you.
we tried to add to our initial report and let them know that there was some video footage, and we were unable to reach them at all.
And we weren't able to even upload the video footage or the photo onto their website.
0 points for Portland police.
0 points, they say. We did check with PPB, who confirmed they have the report. They encourage anyone who does see that van to call 911.
I'm excited for Joe that he won.
I wish Butler would have never conceded because I'm scared. I'm scared about the other person.
Well, lots of reaction from Southwest Washington voters tonight now that the field has been narrowed to the top two candidates in the race for the 3rd Congressional District. Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez will face Trump-backed Republican Joe Kent. Out of the running is 6th-term Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Butler. The voter in Woodland, who you just heard, is excited Kent won, explained why he decided not to support Herrera Butler again.
Probably the Trump vote. So her vote her vote against Trump kind of undermined all of our votes who voted for Trump. So, she's supposed to represent us, and we're a district that Trump won, an area that Trump won in.
Of course, that is just one perspective, but here is another voter pulling for the Democrat.
All I can do is hope that the younger generations, which I do have faith in, are going to come in and say that isn't how we want our country to be.
Yeah, both candidates now have a very short turnaround, just under 3 months to convince voters they are the better choice. But whoever wins, there will definitely be some national attention on this race because this marks a huge change for that seat. Tonight on The Story, Pat Doris found out why.
The defeat of Herrera Butler is a huge deal, even historic. As our friends at the Oregonian newspaper point out, it's been 92 years since an incumbent member of Congress in Washington state lost to a challenger in the primary. I had a chance to talk with Republican strategist Rebecca Tweed, who always has great insights onto these things. Here's her reaction.
I think the reaction everybody has right now is just, wow, really, unexpected at the level of experience that she's had. In the same vein, he ran a really intense, really grassroots focused campaign. We knew he was making it competitive, but in any case, unseating an incumbent at that level it's just a wow.
So what's next? Well, Tweed agrees that the race is now wide open and that lots of national money is going to pour in on both sides. And it's likely going to get nasty.
I think, as we've spoken before, unfortunately, there will have to be some negative campaigning, right? Really trying to pit both of these candidates against one another in very different areas of the spectrum. And what's more appealing to the voters, clearly there's a lot of conservatives making their voice heard in a traditionally conservative district anyway. So if I'm Joe Kent, I'm feeling really energized. If I'm the Perez team, I'm looking at the strategy board pretty quick to see, which voters do we talk to and how often.
It will be a fast and furious campaign. There's not much time left. The November general election is now less than 3 months away on November 8th.
When Rebecca Tweed says, wow, my ears perk up. All right, much more from The Story's coverage of this race is up now on the KGW YouTube channel, including full interviews with both Joe Kent and Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez. Tonight, Oregon is offering new funding for organizations that are helping hundreds of refugees from Afghanistan. An estimated 800 people who fled Afghanistan have arrived in Oregon just in the past year. The state now has an additional $2.8 million in funding for community partners who provide services. Those are organizations like the Portland Refugee Group, who say immigrant families often need not just housing assistance, but help getting those homes connected.
So something that's really difficult to navigate for newly arrived families is not only the idea that you have rent, but then you might have different online systems for paying utility bills, electric, gas, internet, phones, things like that. They're really, just as necessary for having a habitable place to live as the roof over your head.
Organizations can now apply for the funding through the Oregon Department of Human Services.